Hello super friends and welcome to DC TV Talk. This is the show where we talk all things Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow and Black Lightning. And in today's video we're going to be discussing an upcoming episode of The Flash Season 4, including the synopsis which was just recently released for Season 4 Episode 15, which is entitled Enter FlashTime. And I just want to clear something up before we jump into the video, which is that I know there's been a lack of videos on the channel and the British Critic channel respectively over the past week or so. It's simply just because last week I was very busy, just every day something was on, so I didn't really have much time to make videos. I managed to get my Legends video out, but that was about it. So I do apologise for that. This week though, I'm back, I should be able to make plenty more videos as normal. So I do apologise for that, but just to have that cleared up, now with that all out the way, let's jump into the video. So in the next episode of The Flash called Subject 9, we are going to be focusing on the 9th bus metahuman of the 12, and that's why it's called Subject 9, and that's going to be a, another episode where we're going to be seeing one of these bus metas and how perhaps the Thinker's going to be getting into that. But in today's episode of DC TV Talk, we're going to be focusing on episode 15, not episode 14, called Enter FlashTime, which has been quite a publicised episode of the season, even though it hasn't actually been released yet. And it's because there's plenty of theories going around just based on the name alone, and also some of the set reports and things we've heard from behind the scenes about what this episode may entail and what characters may be involved. So let's jump straight into it with the synopsis. So the synopsis for this episode was released the other day, and it goes as follows. When a nuclear bomb detonates in downtown Central City, Barry, Jesse Quick and Jay Garrick slow down time by entering FlashTime. As everyone in the city is frozen, the three speedsters push themselves to the breaking point to save the city and everyone in it. So let's break down that synopsis. So the first part about the nuclear bomb going off in Central City, Central City had a close call with a nuclear explosion earlier on this season with that one metahuman who had the nuclear powers. That was a very close call. It almost suffered a similar fate, but this seems to be an actual bomb, like an actual weapon. This isn't a power. This isn't a, meta power. This is an actual physical weapon. And where could this weapon come from? Well, based on a casting report, we found out that there is going to be a character in this season, most likely in this episode, who's perhaps going to be, a villain of the week type thing, where she is a activist and someone who almost wants to cleanse humanity, and obviously in a typical kind of villain way, by basically wiping it out and starting all over again. So she has this access to this nuclear weapon, this nuclear bomb, which is going to detonate in Central City and going to put the entire city at risk. But luckily, of course, we have three speedsters who we can rely on in order to take down this bomb and take down this villain by entering FlashTime. So what exactly is FlashTime? Well, we haven't actually seen what FlashTime is from the writers and the producers themselves. They haven't actually told us. However, when you look back at, I think it was episode 11 or episode 10, there's a courtroom scene where, of course, Barry was in court. I think it was episode 10. And we see Iris bust in. She's about to tell everybody that Barry is the Flash to kind of clear his name. But then Barry enters this kind of Speed Force reality where everybody else is frozen except him and Iris because he is in contact with her. And I feel that's what FlashTime is. I feel that was a kind of interesting setup for this episode, where this is a new power that Barry has discovered since he exited the Speed Force, and this is going to be him using this power along with Jesse Quick and Jay Garrick to freeze time so that everybody in Central City is frozen except these three people, and they're going to be able to use that time. It's buying them time essentially, when at the last second when this bomb is going off, they have almost all the time in the world to find the villain and to find the problem and the solution to this nuclear bomb going off. And I feel this is a pretty cool setup and definitely a power that I wanted to see explored. I think in my review for episode 10 I said I wonder if this power will be used again or if it will be explained or whatever, and luckily, to my delight, it is being explored more and it is being explained in this episode. At least that's what I believe. I believe that was FlashTime. It makes sense, based on what we saw in that episode and what this synopsis reads. It makes perfect sense. So if this is FlashTime, I'm glad we're getting more exploration of it because that's what I feel it needed. An interesting talking point is, will the bomb actually go off? And what I mean by that is, will we see the bomb actually detonate and explode in Central City, and then we'll see Barry run back in time, a few seconds or whatever, or a few minutes before it goes off? I feel that'd be an interesting thing. Obviously, the big thing that Barry kind of swore he would never do again after season 3 was never run back in time, but it's not like he's running back in time years like he did in Flashpoint. You know, this is him running back a couple of minutes just before this big cataclysmic thing happens. I wonder if it will, though, because obviously Jay Garrick is in this episode, and Jay Garrick is the reason he didn't run back in time after Flashpoint, because if you remember, Barry almost did it again after Flashpoint, but he didn't because Jay Garrick stopped him. Jay Garrick physically reached into the Speed Force and grabbed him out, which I thought was a really cool scene. But that is why he didn't do it again in season 3. So if Jay is in this episode, will Jay kind of be at odds with Barry with that? I don't know. I don't think he will. I think Jay will be very much supportive of the idea. You know, it's not like he's going back and changing history. He's literally going back a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes before this big event happens. And because obviously Jay Garrick is the Flash of Earth 3, he's going to be on the same side of Barry here, as well as Jesse Quick, who is of course the Flash of Earth 2. So I feel that's really, really cool. So I think the bomb maybe might go off, because if you think about it, how would they know about this before it actually happens? I think it'll just be one of those things that will happen, and then Barry at the last minute snaps and runs back. And then maybe he runs back a day, because obviously he needs the time to contact Jesse, he needs the time to contact Jay, and then they can all come across the multiverse into Earth 1. It's going to be an interesting scene to see play out. Obviously, we're still a few weeks away from it before we actually see that, but I feel it's awesome to have these characters back through this way. Speaking of those characters, we see Jesse Quick is returning in this episode, which I'm very excited about. I think Jesse Quick is a very fantastic character in The Flash, because her comic book counterpart is very, very silly, but I really like how they grounded her for the TV show. You know, her relationship with Wally was always very good. Obviously, I'll get to Wally in a minute. But, you know, it's really exciting to see Jesse, to come back into this season, because we haven't seen her yet. We kind of got that voice recording message when, you know, when Harry gave Wally the breakup cube thing. We kind of saw her there, but not really. We haven't seen her physically yet. So it's awesome to bring her back, and I'm very excited to have her back. It's going to be interesting to see how she may interact with Wally, because we know Wally, well, how she will not interact with Wally, because Wally at this point will be on Legends. So he will be a full-time member of Legends by this point. So, you know, I wonder if there'll be any reference to Wally with her, and whether there'll be kind of any dialogue there. I hope there is. I hope there's just like, you know, a little scene or a couple of lines of dialogue just to demonstrate her feelings and where she stands with Wally, and kind of, you know, how she's reacting with the fact that Wally's not there. Because also, will Team Flash know that Wally's gone to the Legends? Like, I wonder if that'll actually be brought up. You know, Wally goes, and then it's just like, oh, I guess he was just traveling again or whatever. But no, he's actually joined the Time Travelers. I feel that'd be an interesting thing to bring up. Hopefully it is brought up, because I think that's definitely something that needs addressing, and then that could create a cool scene with Jesse Quick in that episode. So overall, I'm really happy Jesse's back. I can't wait to see her in this episode, and I think she's a great character, so all aboard having her back. And then we also have Jay Garrick returning, which I'm very happy about. I love Jay Garrick. I just love the concept behind his character in the show, the fact that he's obviously Henry Allen's doppelganger. I love that. So he's always kind of been another father figure for Barry, aside Joe. And also the fact that he's Barry's mentor as the Flash too. You know, he is an older, more experienced Flash, and I really like that aspect of him. And, you know, I like the fact, like I said earlier, he literally stopped Barry from changing the timeline again. Like I said, he literally, if you remember that scene in season 3, I think it was episode 3, he literally reached into the Speed Force and grabbed Barry out, and I thought that was a brilliant idea. So I love Jay Garrick, and I'm really happy he's back. I've been waiting for him to come back this season, because we last saw him in the season 3 finale, where he helped Barry and Wally take down Savitar, which was an amazing fight. That's the only good thing that really happened in that finale. But we can move on from that. And Jay is going to be back in this episode. Again, like I say, it will be interesting to see how he interacts with Barry, you know, kind of seeing, now that Barry's come out of the Speed Force, what will be going on there. But I think Jay is going to be an integral part of this episode, and I'm glad that that is the case, because Jay Garrick is one of my favourite characters on The Flash. Now, there are also a lot of rumours, but not confirmed, that Eobard Thawne will be in this episode, who is of course the Reverse Flash, and this will be Matt Letcher's version. This would be interesting, you know, if this is a big speedster episode, perhaps it would make sense to have Reverse Flash there. However, I just don't see it happening, because Matt Letcher, who plays the Reverse Flash, is very busy at the moment. He's on his own show. He's also now becoming a series regular on Narcos for season 4 of that show, so I don't see him coming back for this. I mean, obviously it is only one episode. You know, Colin Donnell did it in the crossover with Prometheus, but I just feel it would be really interesting if he did come back, because he's obviously such an integral character on The Flash, and, you know, just the way his connection with Barry. I feel if Reverse Flash, you know, Eobard Thawne is going to show up in this episode. I feel it's more likely to be the Harrison Wells version, just like we saw in Crisis on Earth X. But I don't know. I feel, you know, Matt Letcher said himself that he's not in the episode, or he either said that he couldn't say. But I just don't see it happening, to be honest. And also, if Reverse Flash is in this, on top of Jesse and Jay, that's going to be very cluttered, especially, you know, adding in Reverse Flash, who's such a big character. I think Reverse Flash probably will come back this season at some point. I just don't know if it will be in this episode. And the final part of the synopsis reads that the 3 speedsters will be pushing themselves to breaking point to save the city and everyone in it. Now, this is a very interesting little line at the end, because what is the breaking point for these 3 speedsters? What is the breaking point? We've never seen a speedster go to breaking point in air quotes. We don't know what that means. Now, this could just be a throwaway line, you know, just saying, because that is quite a easy line to use. You know, people are pushing themselves to breaking point to save the city, but you know, I'm pretty sure they've used that line in Arrow before, but they've probably used it in The Flash before. But my point is, could this be looked into a bit more? You know, could this be a speedster physically pushing the limits of what his body and what his powers can actually maintain before it gives in? And could that mean that one of these speedsters dies? You know, we haven't really had a big effective death on the Flash in a while, so I think it'd be interesting to see perhaps one of these speedsters die. So who would, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be Barry, but could it be Jesse or could it be Jay? I feel it'd be, you know, the more likely option is Jay, just because I couldn't see them killing off Jesse, because she's just a young character and she's probably got more potential in the future, whereas Jay, you know, Jay has kind of served his purpose on the show, I guess, and I feel that his role perhaps is running out of time. No pun intended there. But I feel that perhaps if one of them was going to die, it would be Jay. But personally, I don't think any of them will die, just because I feel they like to keep Jay Garrick around. He's kind of the character on The Flash who, you know, shows up once or twice every season as like a surprise cameo. And I feel that's where they want to keep Jay at this point in time. Maybe Jay will die eventually. Maybe he could die in this episode. But also to kill a big character in episode 15 of a season, it's a bit odd. So I don't see anyone dying personally, but if anybody was to die, I feel Jay Garrick is the most likely candidate. So are you guys excited for Enter FlashTime? I think it's one of the most exciting sounding episodes of The Flash this season. You know, I mean, I think The Flash Season 4 overall has been pretty good, but it has had some very up and down moments, but this seems to be a very high episode, just because it's a big speedster team up. You know, we have this massive threat of a nuclear bomb going off. We've got potential time travel going on. We've got Jesse Quick returning. We've got Jay Garrick returning. We've got possibly Reverse Flash coming in. And obviously a potential death looming over Team Flash. So I feel that this is a very exciting sounding episode. But tell me what you guys think about it. Are you excited about it? Are you not? Tell me what you think about it in the comment section down below, because there's a lot to discuss going into this episode. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of DC TV Talk. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, it will help me out a lot, and share this video with anyone and everyone you know who loves DC TV and get them to join the community. And as always guys, please subscribe for all of your latest content on Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and Black Lightning. And with all that said guys, I'll see you again in my next video.